Hello folks, this is Mike, PC31 the Vinyl Policeman, and this is my contest entry into Steve, All the World to Stages contest. Steve has just hit, he's gone through now 500 subs, and he's got there really quickly, and he thoroughly deserves it because he's got such an entertaining channel. But what he wanted to do, he's done a special one where it's all centered around Led Zeppelin, which is one of his favorite groups, and lots of us in the VC as well. This is also a special video for me actually, folks, because this is my 100th video, so a bit of a milestone for me as well. Right, okay, so there's two elements to Steve's contest. I can't remember what the prize money is. Mid-September, I'll post a link to Steve's original contest down below so you can get all the detail. But there's two elements. One of them is to rank Zeppelin's 7 studio albums, so we're excluding Coda, which is fair enough. And the second part is, because Steve's hit the 500 subs, is to find a way using Zeppelin data to actually get to the number 500. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with that first. And I'm recording this on Saturday during the daytime, but I can't actually post this particular video until just after midnight in the early hours of Sunday morning. The reason for that is because my number won't work if I don't, and let me explain why. So my way of reaching 500 is to take Zeppelin's 4 official live albums, so Song Remains the Same, BBC Sessions, How the West Was Won and Celebration Day. So I'm taking the 4 live Zeppelin albums, multiplying it by Jimmy Page's age, and he's 79 at the moment, so that comes to 316. I saw Gary, Physical Format Rock and Roll's video just a short while ago, and Gary's gone down a similar route, not exactly the same, but he's used age as well, and I was there as well. So 4 live albums times Jimmy Page's age, which is 79 at the moment, comes to 316. Add on John Paul Jones' age today at the moment, 77. Add on John Bonham's age when he passed away, 32. And at this moment in time, because I'm going to post this after midnight, so it'll be the Sunday the 18th of August. I'm not sure on the actual day, but anyway, Sunday, Robert Plant will be 75. And with that 75, that makes 500. So if I'd had posted this on the Saturday when I actually did it, I'll be on 499, but because I've waited until midnight and Robert's a year older, then comes to 500. So 4 times 79, 316, plus John Paul Jones, 77, John Bonham, 32, Robert Plant, 75 today, 500. So there we are. That's the first part, Steve. Okay, my ranking of the 8 Zeppelin albums. Not a huge surprise, but number 8 is In Through the Outdoor, and Zeppelin's 8th album from 1979. And the thing which always intrigued me about this one, though, was the artwork. It's a hypnosis artwork, and you got the 6 different sleeves, and they were put in this cardboard. They were put in this paper sleeve to actually hide, so you couldn't see which one you were buying. But I had a vision once about trying to track down all 6 sleeves, but I never did. Interesting fact for Gary at Physical Format Rock and Roll, and also Richard McCook, if he does this particular contest, is this album was recorded in ABBA's studios in Stockholm. Just a little bit of trivia. Standout track for me on this one is In the Evening, which I think is an absolutely fantastic track. The rest of the album doesn't live up to that track for me, but that particular track could have been on any Zeppelin album, I believe. Very John Paul Jones based album, lots of keyboards on this one, and he probably wrote more on this than any other. So In Through the Outdoor is my number 8. So my number 7, sorry folks, no huge shock. Presence, 1976, the 7th album. Standout on this one, Achilles' Last Stand. I also like For Your Life as well. I think that's a really terrific track. Hypnosis cover again, and obviously the Object, which I pressed only so many of those, and they go for an absolute fortune now, the original ones. But this one was recorded in Munich. But it's still a good, they're all good albums. They're all very listenable and very enjoyable albums. But this one would be number 7 for me. So, number 6. And I guess we're getting into the heavy hitters now. So, the debut album from January 69, Zeppelin 1. Standout track, Dazed and Confused, I think is an absolutely classic Zeppelin track. I remember when I first got this album way back, I just used to play that over and over, Dazed and Confused, so it's fantastic. Glyn John's mix, which makes this one quite interesting for me. Jimmy Page obviously produces all the Zeppelin albums, but to have a master like Glyn John's in the control room as well, absolutely fantastic. That's my number 6. So my number 5 is Zeppelin 2, and from October 69, the second album. My standouts on this one I would be Thank You, Heartbreaker, Ramble On. I love the Moby Dick riff. I think it's absolutely fantastic, but not a lover of drum solos. Sorry, Ben Rankins. Not a lover of drum solos, so Moby Dick, the riff for me is absolutely superb. Whole Lot of Love, being in the UK, we used to hear it all the time on Top of the Pops, so got a little bit wary of that one. But Thank You and Heartbreaker in particular, I think are absolute standouts on this one. So that's my number 5. My number 4. This was a shock for me because this is possibly my Zeppelin go-to for many years. And I thought I'd rank this a lot higher, but it's in number 4th place. And I've been playing these all through the last couple of days to do Steve's ranking. And it's the 5th album, Houses of the Holy. The Rain song on this one, I think, is such a magnificent song. I mean, the guitar work, the vocals, John Paul Jones keyboards on this, I think are fantastic. The Ocean, superb track. Dancing Days, Over the Hills. Not overly fond of the grunge and Jamaica, but very strong album again. And as I say, it was my kind of go-to for quite a few years. But that's at number 4. Okay, number 3. I really struggled between 2 and 3. And they swapped round quite a lot. But the way it's landed is number 3 for me is the magnificent Mammoth Physical Graffiti from 1975, the 6th album. And obviously this is the one that contains the absolute masterpiece, Kashmir. What an absolutely phenomenal piece of music that is. The Rover, I love that track. I think that's a superb track. 10 Years Gone, Wanton Song, In My Time of Dying, superb. Don't really need Boogie with Stu too much, but lots of great tracks on this double album. Maybe could be argued it's a little bit bloated. I mean, if this was a single album of all the top tracks, then this would be just beyond classic. It'd be a fantastic album, but a few tracks bloat it out, I think, a little bit. But it's number 3 for me, and it's a superb album. So number 2 for me is Zeppelin 4, and some of the tracks on this album, Black Dog, what an absolutely fantastic rock song that is. Just fantastic. 4 Sticks, magnificent song. When the Levee Breaks. I remember at Headley Grange they said they were trying to get that great big drum sound for John Bonham, and they recorded it kind of down the stairwell in Headley Grange, and they were trying all different things, and you can hear the mammoth drums on this album. Battle of Evermore, superb track. Don't need to hear Stairway to Heaven again. Again, being in music shops over the years, etc., guitar shops, you just heard it everywhere for decades. And so Stairway to Heaven, kind of not quite so fond on anymore, just heard it so many times. But those 4 tracks in particular I mentioned, Black Dog, 4 Sticks, When the Levee Breaks, and Battle of Evermore, classic tracks. So my number 1, which I don't think I've seen anybody with this as the number 1, but this is an album for me which I've always absolutely loved, and it's from 1970 and it's Zeppelin 3, called the acoustic album, but there's some huge songs on this. I mean, the Immigrant song to start it. Oh my God, what an opening song for an album. I mean, it's similar to Hole in the Sky for Black Sabbath Sabotage, to open up with something as colossal as that. Absolutely brilliant. Out on the Tiles, Celebration Day, they're big tracks. I mean, huge. They're not acoustic tracks. But if you think of things like Friends, the second track on the album, the acoustic guitar playing is just so dissonant, the chords and the riff that Jimmy Page is playing. And I find a lot of this album just really quite edgy and haunting, a very mysterious sort of album. And I remember when I was kind of a young lad and I heard this for the first time, I thought, oh my God, this is really grown-up music. This is something a bit special. This is something really edgy. And I loved it ever since. So for me, hats off to Harper's a bit strange at the end, but I guess it fits the whole dissonant, mysterious package for it. But my number one is Zeppelin 3. Okay? So thanks, Steve. Congratulations on the 500.